Hello, my name is Robbie Ferry and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, why not? So the other day I did a video about contact points on the bike. So we spoke a little bit about saddles, a little bit about handlebars and a little bit about pedals, but I said I was going to go in on some videos a little more in depth about each little place. So the first thing I want to talk about before we go into pedals and handlebars is saddles. How are you going to get the right saddle for your ultra distance, long distance riding? Well, to be honest, I'll tell you my story about how I got there, and hopefully that'll help you on your journey to getting the perfect saddle as well. The first thing I want to say is there's a lot of misconception by companies that this is the most comfortable saddle. This will work for you. Sit on this and then we'll know exactly what saddle you need. In my opinion, in my experience from trying so many, working in bike shops, I find that everyone is very different. I can't really recommend a saddle to you that's going to work straight away. I can recommend things to try, but I can't recommend something that's going to be perfect for you. So always bear that in mind, that you are your own person. Your bum is going to be different to pretty much everyone else's bum. Okay, so I started with the misconception that more cushion would actually make it more comfortable. And this is completely wrong, guys. Racy saddles can be very comfortable. It's just about getting the right one for you. So I started going for everything. Oh, this is cushioned, this is great, this is going to be comfortable. And I found it just made my riding worse. The first half hour was quite comfortable, but after that it was just terrible. So before you think about going for a really comfortable saddle or getting that lovely gel cover for your, £5 racing bike, don't. So that's the most important thing. Just because it's got a lot of cushion doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable. So after that I started working on recommendations. So John used to come in the bike shop all the time and he said to me, "Oh, Robbie, you're young, you need to go for a Brooks." And I said, okay, so I went out and I spent £100 on a Brooks Cambium, I think I said that right, and I used it for a year, and I'd spent a lot of money on that. I haven't really had much money in my life, so I'd spent a lot of money on this saddle, and honestly, I was like, my God, it's not as comfortable as I want it to be. So I tried and tried and tried with it. It really took so long, so I did a whole year on it, and it just was never right for me. It was a fantastic saddle, don't get me wrong, but it just never worked for me. So I started delving into using different ones. So I tried a Madison saddle. It worked for the first 10 hours of my rides, but after that it started to get uncomfortable the next day. Then I tried to charge spoon. So there was loads of different things that I tried along the way. But I remember I was in Spain at one point, and I was riding this Specialized bike, and it had a saddle called a Pro Stealth, and this is the one here. And as soon as I sat on it, I was like, oh, this is quite cozy actually. And then the whole day I was out, I never had any issues. So I thought, my God, maybe I need one of these. So I went and got one of these Pro Stealth saddles, and I used it for a bit, and yeah, it did get uncomfortable after about 8-10 hours, and then I just kept using it. Then before I knew it, I'd forgotten what feeling uncomfortable on my saddle felt like anymore, because I'd just got so used to it. And I kept using it, and I have been ever since. And this was probably 3 years ago when I started using the first one. So I'm going to show you mine. So this is actually, I own a couple of different ones. So this is mine, and what's special about this saddle is you actually sit on the sit bones, which is nice. It's a very short, stubby saddle. It just works for me. I can't say it's going to work for you, but for me, I just find these saddles absolutely amazing, and they just weigh absolutely nothing. So they're really, really decent saddles in my eyes. They do a couple of other ones here, like I've even got the special edition one, which was fantastic. And recently, they have just brought out, need to put it on my new bike, the Stealth off-road saddle. So they do have some really good saddles in the range, but I just found they really worked for me. So the recommendations I can give you about how I found the saddle, which I feel as though is perfect for me, is firstly, don't be driven by how much cushioning it's got or anything like that. Just, you know, completely ignore the amount of cushioning. Secondly, just because someone recommended it doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable. You know, like, really just try anything and give it a month or two, give it, you know, 2-3 months, and then eventually you'll know if it's the right saddle for you. If, you know, you might need to bed it in. Just, in my opinion, really just keep trying lots of different things. I was lucky enough to be in a situation where I could try lots of different things. That's working in a bike shop does. But in my opinion, you know, just trying a different one every couple of months so you get the right one will go so far, because that'll be the saddle you probably use for the rest of your life once you find the right one. So, anyway, if I can give any advice then, don't worry too much about recommendations, don't worry about cushioning, just keep trying lots of new things, then eventually you will find the perfect saddle for you. Thank you for listening, guys. The next video I'm going to do is going to be all about handlebars. So we're going to talk about how to get your hands as comfortable as possible. Thank you very much, guys.